Hell yeah! Welcome to the show. It is Wrestling Uncensored. I am Dave Simon, and Smackdown just went down. Jey Uso turns heel, beats Daniel Bryan, and the WWE puts together a whole lot of Survivor Series coming up. It's November time. It's the Halloween edition. It's spooky. It's Wrestling Uncensored. You damn right. Big Johnny's here. What's up, Big Johnny?
Not bad. It's nice Halloween Eve. Not Halloween quite yet for us here, but almost.
Whatever. It's spooky. You're scaring me already. You're frightening, Johnny. I'm Ghouly Dave. We are scary. Ooh, spooky. We're live, man. This is a live edition of Wrestling Uncensored. It is the first time that we have gone live on YouTube for Wrestling Uncensored, which is like the flagship, the home base of the wrestling portion of the Ringside Report Network. So what's up, everybody? Glad everybody is here. You're watching. It was kind of a surprise, kind of a last-minute thing. We're like, will we or won't we go live on a Friday night? Turns out we will. I was working on the stuff with the team and the technical things before in the afternoon, and we got everything going, and we said, yeah, okay, let's go live, baby. Let's talk about SmackDown right after SmackDown. So this is when Wrestling Uncensored is going to be every Friday night, 10 p.m. right after SmackDown, or about 10:15. You know, I might have to go out, have a little smoke ski before the show, and then I come in, and at 10:15 I'm ready to go. Bing, bang, boom. Let's go. Depends how bad SmackDown is, you know. I got to relax myself before I start talking about this WWE stuff. For those of you that saw me on Sunday night, you know that I'm not enjoying the WWE. About 2 matches into our Hell in a Cell watch-along, I had it. I had enough of WWE. I had enough of this stuff. I don't know if we'll ever do another WWE watch-along where I have to sit in a room and actually watch a WWE show, like, focused. Like, I know I'm talking to you guys on the chat. I'm talking to Johnny North. I'm talking to my brother on the watch-along. But it takes me away from my family. It takes me away from my son. You see him popping in so much during the watch-alongs. I'd rather watch the pay-per-views with him where I'm kind of wrestling with him and half paying attention to these terrible Roman Reigns matches than fully paying attention to these terrible Roman Reigns matches. Because the WWE lately is terrible. I am not enjoying what they're doing. And thank you to Patrick C. Hamilton for supporting. He says, thank you. Was wondering what I was going to do this evening. Drop in a very generous super chat. We appreciate everybody who supports the Ringside Report Network. Truly, we do it for people like Patrick C. Hamilton. We do it for people who support the channel. We do it for the viewers. But the super chat, you know, really helps us. It motivates us to keep the show going. You know what I mean? I'm not watching WWE for my health. You know what? I should be paid. We are not, you know what I mean? Like, John, we are not highly paid. We are barely paid to do these shows. We put in a lot of work, and I don't think people quite understand how little paid we are and how we make no money off this show. Like, this isn't a job for us. We both have shoot jobs. You know, we both have real jobs in the real world that have nothing to do with professional wrestling, and that's too bad. And that's something that I would like to change, and hopefully we will change one day where we can just do this as a full-time job. But it's not our full-time job, you know, so we have full-time jobs, we have things to do, and then we have to watch all this boring WWE, and then we have to do a million shows, and, you know, sometimes we need a little break, you know. Sometimes I need more time for my family than I'm getting, so man, this WWE stuff, I'm fast-forwarding through a lot of it now. I'm done. I know Drew McIntyre wrestled The Miz on Raw. I didn't even watch the end of Hell in a Cell. I'd had it. Like, I'm just done with WWE. Randy and Drew McIntyre in a cell. Like, I don't ever need to see Randy Orton wrestle Drew McIntyre again. Drew fell off the cell, I guess, halfway down. I mean, John, you could tell me what happened. You could tell me if it's worth watching, and maybe I'll go back and check it out, you know? But at this point, you know, I watched SmackDown. It was what it was. I watched some parts of Raw. It was what it was, but not enjoying the WWE. You know, I liked AEW Dynamite this week. I'm actually looking forward to Full Gear. I think Full Gear is going to be a really good show. Two matches selling it for me. Obviously, Kenny Omega versus Hangman Page could be match of the year. Could be match of the decade. You know, it's bound to be amazing. And then FTR versus the Young Bucks, a dream match as well for the AEW tag titles. Like, I'm quite excited for AEW Full Gear. So AEW has my attention. WWE, I mean, I'm dreading Survivor Series. I'll tell you right now, we're not doing a watch-along for Survivor Series. We'll probably wind up doing a post-show. We're going to, I'll watch Survivor Series, and then Johnny and I will come on maybe in the main event or just after the main event ends, towards the end of Survivor Series, and we'll talk about it. And that'll be that. But I'm not sitting here for 4 hours watching Survivor Series uninterrupted. Well, I don't get a smoke break. I don't get a bathroom break. I don't get to hang out with my son for 4 hours. I'm not having that. I'm not doing that. WWE is just not worth it. The program is not fun. So I'll watch Survivor Series, but, I want the option to kind of tune out of a match if I need to. Like that Roman Reigns Jey Uso match, I wanted to tune out. Like, I wanted to do something else, maybe play on my phone, play video games, and not pay attention to the match. The problem is, when you're doing a watch-along, people kind of expect you to be paying attention to the match, or at least give them some sort of idea of what's happening. And, I don't want to pay that close attention to Roman Reigns and Jey Uso. Like, thank God Jey Uso turned on Daniel Bryan or whatever, and he turned heel, and now he's with Roman, because now we don't have to see Roman Reigns and Jey Uso wrestle ever again. So that's where I'm at with WWE. I'm just not feeling it. And I'm seeing my people on the chat. Lauren Cronish is there. Franco316, Bob Cote, Derek John, Alex Terrace. And Alex Terrace is like, no, come on, we want you to do a watch-along, But look, Alex Terrace also recognizes that spending time with family is worth way more than anything else, and that's just where I'm at right now. I'd rather watch the pay-per-view with my son than with you, Johnny North, okay? No disrespect.
Well, it's just better for him. Like, it's better experience for him, and there's possibility of you guys actually being on the pay-per-view as well. So I think for him, just growing up, it's better that way.
That's Fred Garcia, actually, that said spending time with family is worth way more than anything else. That wasn't Alex Terrace. They just have the same icon on the chat, so I got confused. Yeah, Alex, I like
Fred's
you.
That kind of guy.
I like you. Alex Terrace is like, I'm family, and I'm like, well, I like Alex Terrace, but up until 3 days ago, he would be on the chat and go, AJ is the best. AJ's always right. Like, he was AJ's number one fan, and then this week on the chat, he's like, Dave is the best. Dave is always right. So for months, if not years, Alex Terrace was AJ's number one fan. Now he's become my number one fan, I think, to just get more free content out of me, which, I appreciate. And I appreciate that there are people out there that are like, no, give us more. And I love that. And that makes me feel good because it lets me know that you guys actually like the show and you want more, But if you really want more and you really like the show, tell your friends so that they could tell their friends, and then they could tell their friends, and then we could have a massive audience, and we could be the biggest pro wrestling show in the world. We are currently not the most viewed pro wrestling show in the world, and that is disappointing, because I've seen the other pro wrestling shows that are more viewed, and I don't know, I feel like ours is better. But that's my opinion, and that's my show. If I thought my show was worse than other shows, I would not do a show. Because I'd be like, what am I doing a show for? It sucks, right? You got to think that you're doing the best, or at least the best you possibly can do, given your circumstances and given your limited intellect. I'm talking about my limited intellect, John, all right? I'm no genius, but I know pro wrestling, brother. Anyways, that's where we're at. Freddie, I see you on the chat. I love you, brother. I love Freddie, and I love everybody in the Wrestling Uncensored universe. And we got some pro wrestling to talk about. And now Wrestling Uncensored is going to be live every Friday night, so how about that? You may not get watch-alongs, but you're going to get Wrestling Uncensored, the weekly show, the flagship, the main hub of pro wrestling in your life, free, live, every Friday night, right after Smackdown. Like, it's pretty good. It's pretty good, right? I mean, we're giving it, And now this is good because this is past my son's bedtime. My son goes to bed after SmackDown. I'm good. Anything past 10 p.m., I'm yours. Past 10 p.m., I belong to the Wrestling Uncensored universe. Before that, my time is my own. You know what I mean? That's where it is. UFC pay-per-views, we'll do the watch-alongs for that, no problem. 10 p.m., easy. That's when they start, you know? But these WWE pay-per-views at 7 p.m., it's a lot. It's a lot of time away from the family.
Well, I think people are just happy that they're still getting shows. I think people were worried about the future of just shows, period, after Sunday. So I think people, for the most part, are happy that you're back and that you're healthy as well, because I think that's the most important part is your health. Because like if Hell in the Cell is ruining your health, then definitely something needs to change.
WWE is so bad, it's like affecting my mental health. That's where they've put me. I've watched so much of this stuff, it's started to fry my brain. I'm like Kramer when he's living next to Kenny Rogers' chicken, you know? Going crazy.
That's the light, yeah.
Yeah. The light of the WWE is frying my brain.
Well, to be fair, SmackDown was not very good today, so I don't know how you felt about your brain today, because to me it hurt.
Yeah, Jerry turns into Kramer. JC knows what I'm talking about. I see you, JC. Watching us on Twitch, too. Shout out to Twitch. We're live on Twitch as well. Twitch, YouTube. And I see the Ringside Report team. They're like, free? We also would appreciate donations and some money. Donate.ringsidereport.net. I mean, yeah. Yeah, that's what.
Donuts there for a second.
Donuts. I mean, you donate and then we could buy donuts. Fred says on the next watch along he's going to buy a dozen Krispy Kreme donuts and we're going to watch to see how many he can eat. So donate.
Those are the worst things to eat.
Donate for Fred's donuts.
That's terrible. Don't eat that stuff.
Come on, John.
That's bad.
Yeah. You're like Mr. Perfect do-gooder over there, buddy. All right?
No, but seriously, you can have like heart problems with that kind of stuff. People had
Hey, John.
Problems in the past.
Hey, John, does this make you mad? Does this make you mad, John?
I can't tell what that is. What mask is that?
It's just a mask that I'm wearing improperly. Does this make you mad, John? Does this make you mad? You want to put me on Instagram now? That's an inside joke. If you follow Johnny North on Instagram, you know what I'm talking about.
I've already snapshotted this. You're already been at it. Don't worry.
Yeah, take a picture, John. Snitch me to all the media outlets and political figures and whoever else you're snitching to. I love you, Johnny. You're doing God's work. God bless you. You're a good man. You're a good man. I support you. I'm just making a joke. I actually am on your side 100%. I think people should be wearing masks, and the fact that you see people daily on the bus and subway not wearing masks is shocking. But let's not talk about that.
What do you want to talk about then? Do we talk about wrestling then, I guess?
Fred says just don't get naked like the guy on Johnny's feed. You had a naked guy on your feed?
Yeah, that happened too.
On
you
STM?
Saw it, did you not?
I didn't see a naked
guy.
I
can repost it for you.
No,
I'll send it to you.
Yeah, send it to me directly in slow motion. But what do you? There was a naked guy?
Yeah, I think it wasn't just a mask issue. I think the guy just had problems.
Was this near you? You saw the guy?
No, this video I was sent to me actually. So.
Oh wow! So you're sending so many of these videos. People are sending them to you to repost. You're becoming known as that guy.
Photos. Yeah, of course.
Yeah. More than being an indie wrestler or a talk show host, co-host, whatever, you are you're known as the the pro masker. The pro masker and the guy who snitches on people in the subway about they're wearing a mask.
Mainly in Montreal only, I think.
I
don't believe it's worldwide yet.
Oh, I don't know, man. You're getting a reputation. You're big. You're very famous. All right. Can I get mad about what happened to my man Daniel Bryan? Because, like...
Well, you should expect that.
I mean, come on. SmackDown, two things happened on SmackDown that should never, ever happen in professional wrestling, okay? Jey Uso pinned Daniel Bryan clean. That should never happen in professional wrestling. Okay, that's ridiculous. It's stupid. Why? Daniel Bryan is a WrestleMania main eventer, former WWE champion, bona fide number one A-plus player, Hall of Famer. Jey Uso is a Hall of Famer as part of the Usos. Jey Uso in a singles run, not too good. Okay? Watch his last 2 matches with Roman. Trash. Pure trash. So, Daniel Bryan should never lose to Jey Uso. And Shinsuke Nakamura should never get pinned by Montez Ford. Blah. Shinsuke Nakamura. Tokyo Giant, superhero of professional wrestling. Tokyo Dome main eventer. Royal Rumble winner. Drops a pinfall clean to Montez Ford. This is not the first time this has happened, John. This has happened before.
Well, they lost to them. Remember when they had the Raw versus SmackDown Tag Champions on Raw? I think this was back in September. I don't know if it was Nakamura who ate the loss, but I mean the team lost, so.
Ugh. Awful. Nakamura eating a loss from Montez Ford. Get the hell out of here, Montez Ford. And Survivor Series is, huh?
What do you think of the finish? Like, to me, it looked like he was kind of short on the frog splash, and it looked like he hurt himself on the frog splash.
The Montez splash? I don't know. He jumps really high.
Well, it looked like he jumped really high, and I think he got him short a bit. And when he landed, it looked like he may have hurt a rib or something.
Yeah. I hope he did so they can drop the titles because those guys are boring. They're like, and they're wrestling New Day at Survivor Series because their Survivor Series gimmick is they're doing champion versus champion, right? So they're wrestling
what the main event is then, right?
Yeah, Randy and Roman. Survivor Series looks like dog shit, bro. It looks fucking horrible. It looks like one of the worst pay-per-views. Like, you thought goddamn Hell in a Cell was bad? Wait till you see Survivor Series, pal. That should be what they say. Like, hey, you thought Hell in a Cell was bad. You just wait for Survivor Series. That's going to be the worst.
Well, the tagline is actually best of the best, but, I mean, I guess you take it a different way.
What's the tagline? Best of the best?
Best of the best.
This is worst of the worst pay-per-views. This is, hey, let's put the worst match we could possibly put together. Has WWE forgotten what baby faces and heels are? I feel like WWE is so far removed from an audience telling them that they suck that they can't figure out what sucks and what doesn't suck. First of all, you have the Thunderdome. They're pumping in boos and cheers that are not coming from the Thunderdome. It's all fake. You have a guy on the screen for the Thunderdome telling the people in the Thunderdome to put their thumbs down and to cheer. It's all fake. You get no legitimate crowd reaction. None. Right?
You told me this because you did it, right?
Yeah, of course. It's not a real reaction. And if you give a real reaction, if you cheer the wrong person, they'll move you or they'll take you off TV, okay? That's how it operates. If they don't have a real audience, they pump in fake noise too, fake boos, fake cheers for all their bullshit segments that they do. It's terrible. And what used to happen with the WWE is they would do terrible, terrible TV, and then they would go to Brooklyn, and the Brooklyn audience would tell them what sucked and what didn't, and then they would adjust accordingly. They would go to Chicago, they would go to Philadelphia, they would go to Montreal, they would go to Toronto, and those audiences in the Northeast primarily would tell them that, hey, this shit stinks. You got to stop doing this. Hey, Drew McIntyre, we know you're a babyface, but these promos you're cutting are fucking terrible. And we're going to boo you out of the building. And the WWE hasn't been booed out of a building in what? Almost a year now. And it shows when you watch their product. They haven't been adjusted by a real crowd that likes wrestling, that hates what they're doing. They haven't been filled with a building of the Wrestling Uncensored universe to tell them that it's not working. And that's why they are where they are. I think the pandemic, the lack of crowd, has really, really hurt the WWE and their product, because I don't know if I've ever seen a worse WWE. Horrible. And who's a babyface and who's a heel? So you have Roman Reigns, who's a heel, Randy Orton, who's a heel, two heel champions wrestling each other at the pay-per-view. They just had a babyface Money in the Bank guy drop his briefcase to a heel guy in Miz. So now you have a heel teasing a cash-in, which is a heel move, on two potential heel champions. They have no baby faces. Why would they? Is there anybody who actually want to cheer in this stupid company? Not me.
They're on the Raw and Smackdown teams, it looks like.
And the teams. Of course, we all care about the teams, and Derek John always bringing it, always knows. This guy keeps his eye on the ball, drops a super chat, and drops knowledge as well. Why is there no NXT in this year's Survivor Series? Because it's a stupid wrestling company that you shouldn't be watching. Because last year, it was Raw versus SmackDown versus NXT. And guess who won all the matches?
Well, not all the matches.
Okay, the SmackDown won the Survivor Series triple threat 5-on-5-on-5 match. Okay. But Shayna won the champion versus champion versus champion. She was the NXT champion at the time. She beat Bayley, who was Raw or SmackDown, and Becky, who was the Raw champions. So Shayna won. Adam Cole, he wrestled Pete Dunne, so whatever. But Roderick Strong beat AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura in the North American champion versus United States champion versus Intercontinental champion match. And Team NXT won the women's 5-on-5-on-5 Survivor Series match. So they won the majority of the matches. Not to mention, on the pre-show, Lio Rush, representing NXT, defended the Cruiserweight title against Tozawa from Raw and Kalisto from SmackDown. So NXT won Survivor Series last year, which earns them 0 matches at this year's Survivor Series. Like, they don't reward you for paying attention like Derek John does, like we do. They don't reward you for paying attention because there's like, oh, yeah. NXT, they're really good at Survivor Series. Well, whatever. We forgot about that concept. It's just a concept. It's goddamn stupid.
Well, I don't feel they forgot about it. It's because of those outbreaks that have been happening at the Performance Center. I think they're worried if they have all the rosters together, there might be a problem. So I think it's better to do it this way, actually. It's safer.
Yeah, because NXT's COVID contagious. It's a COVID roster. Yeah, there's another COVID outbreak in NXT. Beautiful. And, yeah. John, you saw the end of Survivor Series, right? Did you watch the rest of the show? Because after the Jeff Hardy-Elias match, I was like, all right. I'm done. People told me Sasha and Bayley was good. What did you think? How does it rank among their matches?
Well, it was easily the best match on the show. There's no question about that. A lot of people would say it was.
That's not hard to do. They had Miz versus Otis. I mean, come on.
Right. But I to me, it's like one of their best matches. To me, it was like a match of the year candidate, that match.
Okay.
Like they did a lot of innovative, creative stuff in that match. Like Sasha, to me, is like made for Hell in a Cell. Because she does stuff that you wouldn't expect she should be able to pull off, and she does it.
Was it better than Pentagon and Kenny this week on Dynamite?
Well, it's a totally different kind of scenario.
Was it better?
Like,
was it better?
The problem.
Just tell me if it was better.
Oh, it's tough to say.
It's really then I don't need to watch it. Then I don't need to watch it.
we'll talk about Kenny and Penta later because like I have my thoughts about that.
Package
But
pile driver. That's all I gotta say. Package pile driver.
the
Holy
last five
shit.
minutes were fantastic.
Huh.
But here's the huge problem though. I remember all in, and I'm sure
Okay.
you remember all
Yeah,
in,
well, this is a
and that's the
TV match.
problem.
It's different. They're telling a story.
I
It's a
know,
different
but
thing. We'll talk about it. And what about Randy and Drew? I didn't watch that because, like, no. No. Like, I'm putting my foot down on WWE. I'm not watching this bullshit anymore. I'll watch what I need to watch. I'll tell you what I saw on Raw here because I skimmed through Raw. I watched all of SmackDown, but Raw I skimmed through. But I did
okay.
not watch the Hell in a Cell main event because fuck that. And then I saw the results, and it was like, oh, Miz won Money in the Bank. Oh, and Randy won the WWE title. I was like, yeah, I didn't need to see that. And I was like, oh, I have Hell in a Cell on my PVR. Delete. I was like, oh, maybe I'll go back and watch the match. Nah, delete. I need the space for the new episodes of Eric Andre. Which, by the way, the season premiere of Eric Andre, way better than anything that the WWE has done in like 5 years. So there's that. And that was like an 11-minute show.
Well, I'd still recommend watching Sasha and Bailey if you can find it anywhere. 'Cause I
I'd
thought that
recommend
match was still
watching
really
the
good.
season premiere of the Eric Andre show. Have you seen that, John?
Well, it's not wrestling though. It's a totally different type of entertainment.
Yeah, but I want to be entertained. And Eric Andre takes some serious bumps in his intro. I don't know if you ever seen the show, but the guy bumps, brother. All right, he goes through tables and everything. Okay, Eric Andre is a great physical performer, and I would recommend watching the new episode of the Eric Andre show over any WWE match that they're going to put out in 2020. More entertaining.
You say that, and we had AJ versus Daniel Bryan.
This year? Did we?
We did. Yeah, we did for the Intercontinental title.
Yeah, but have you ever seen Eric Andre?
Was it that bad, the match? I don't think the match was that bad.
Have you seen Eric Andre, though?
Once in a while.
It's pretty good. You see when Jericho was on? That was pretty fun.
I saw Jericho.
Not the
I
best,
saw
but he was on.
it was all right.
Anyways, I like Eric Andre, and I'd rather spend my time watching that than Randy Orton versus Drew McIntyre. That's for damn sure. So Randy won the title. I'm done with Randy.
You wouldn't like that match.
Yeah,
I understand that. You wouldn't like that.
Not surprised.
And you're not going to like Raw for the next couple of months now because of this. Because like
not gonna
Randy's
like-
going all the way to WrestleMania with this.
Yeah, cool. Who's he gonna wrestle at Mania? Till Mania, eh? Huh. Edge? Edge.
Yeah.
You know what they should do is they need to weasel the Money in the Bank off of Miz and give it to Edge. So that Edge, the original Mr. Money in the Bank, the rated R superstar, can cash in on Randy and take that belt from him and then go like this. You know when he used to do that with his tongue? That was like the Edge thing. That was rated R superstar. Very, very sexy.
Well,
Not
I'm
sexy.
expecting Miz
Gross.
to try to cash in before Edge comes back. Because Edge, we're expecting like WrestleMania time, right? So
Why would he cash in? Like, if you're Miz, like in a real setting, you know that you suck at wrestling. Roman Reigns, if you try to cash in on him, he's going to spear the shit out of you. Randy Orton, like, he's going to RKO you. What chance does Miz really have? Like, Miz getting Money in the Bank is so ridiculous. Another reason why I don't want to watch WWE, they're giving something to The Miz. The Miz. And look, Otis wasn't a great Money in the Bank holder, but at least he's not The Miz. When the show revolves around Randy Orton and The Miz, that's when Big Daddy Dave steps away, okay? I don't want none of that shit.
well,
so Drew McIntyre...
Here's a fun fact.
Yeah, go ahead.
I have a fun fact for you.
What's fun?
Great fun fact. Oh, yeah, this is fun. 10 years ago, Survivor Series, exactly at Survivor Series when it happens. Survivor Series this year. 10 years ago, The Miz cashed in Money in the Bank briefcase on Randy. So, possibly a Survivor Series is going to happen again 10 years later.
Okay.
Fun. Is it not fun?
Not
Aren't you
fun.
having a lot of fun with that?
No, I hate it.
Oh,
I don't give a
that's too
shit.
bad.
I don't care at all. I see Rob Cluse on the chat. Who the hell is Eric Andre? Rob, the fact that you don't know who Eric
Wow.
Andre is, but you know who The Miz is, that's a sad indictment on your entertainment choices. You know, like, just watch Eric Andre. He's more entertaining than The Miz. The next time you see a Randy Orton match, stop watching wrestling and go watch Eric Andre, an episode of Eric Andre instead. Then go back to Raw, and the Randy Orton match will probably be over. That is my advice to you. Go and watch an Eric Andre episode every time Randy Orton, his music hits. That's my advice, because that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to watch something else every time Randy comes out, because I'm not watching that big, lazy bastard wrestle anymore. Tired of it. Tired of it. Tired of watching Drew McIntyre blah, blah, blah all the time. Tired of that shit. What's wrong with that guy? Fucking boring. He needs a New York crowd to let him know that he sucks. He's good. He's like, oh, I'm not so mad about I'm going to get back up. I'm going to be the champion again. And I'm shut up, dude. Shut up. No one cares about you and your championship aspirations. You goddamn suck. Your run was awful. You'll never be a champion again. One and done. You're this year's version of Kofi Kingston. Back of the line, Drew. Back to Scotland. Back to Impact or wherever the fuck you came from. Miz and Morrison come out, and they're like, blah, 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 Miz's Money in the Bank, and Drew, you lost, and Miz won last night, heh, heh, heh. And then Drew's like, yeah, and he beats them both up, and then Miz, like, takes nothing. It's really John Morrison taking the whole beating from Drew, because John Morrison's, like, the only real athlete among the three of them, you know? And then John Morrison's getting tossed around, and then Miz comes in to save Morrison with the worst chop block I've ever seen in the history of pro wrestling, on Drew McIntyre so that John Morrison can escape. That chop block was awful. Everything Miz does is terrible. I think Miz has delivered the worst version of every move that he does in the history of wrestling. Like, he's done the worst chop block. He's done the worst punch. He's done the worst clothesline. He's done the worst kick. He's done the worst version of every move in professional wrestling. That's the Miz's offense. Phonier than phony. Like, goddamn terrible. Phonier than fucking Bill Cosby at a dad conference, all right? Phony as fuck.
I don't know about that. Dominic Mysterio's really giving him run for his money in terms of fake punches. Like, they're pretty bad, Dominic Mysterio's punches. I don't know if you saw that ground and pound he pulled off.
Miz has been wrestling for over 10 years. And we're comparing him to Dominic Mysterio, who had his first match 3 months ago. It's pathetic. Miz has multiple WWE Championship reigns and is holding the current Money in the Bank briefcase. Dominic is fighting for his sister's love. Totally different scenarios, John. Yeah.
Fun stuff.
Buddy Murphy is a coxman among coxmen. Respect to Buddy Murphy. We'll talk about him later on.
Cool pants.
Nice. He must have a tremendous penis. We'll talk about Lars Sullivan too, speaking of penis. So, you know, Miz and Drew McIntyre, I was like, yeah. They were talking, and I watched some of the promo, and then I was like, bloop, bloop. I skipped a little bit because I'm like, no, not happening. Then AJ Styles shows up, and I'm like, yeah, AJ Styles, here we go. Phenomenal one. And he starts talking, and he's got that big guy, Jordan Omogbehin, who had a name last week. This is how short-sighted and stupid WWE is. So last week, when AJ comes out with this giant man, big dude, former basketball player from Nigeria, Jordan Omogbehin, they show his name, his shoot name, his real name on the screen under AJ Styles' name. This week, he comes out with AJ Styles. AJ doesn't give him a name. The screen, there's no lower third with a name. There's no name for him. And AJ Styles only refers to him, AJ and commentary only refer to him as AJ's associate.
Because they don't have a name yet.
My God. My associate.
Well, it's better than, like, Matt Riddle's just Riddle now. I mean, at least they didn't shorten it.
My associate. They should call him Kenneth. That's my name. My associate, Kenneth. I don't think we'll be needing Kenneth anymore. That's a joke that only my brother will get. Okay, sometimes I drop references and jokes on this show that I understand no one will get except for my brother, and that's okay. Okay? But I think that they should name AJ Styles' associate Kenneth. It's a Peep Show reference for you. It's very deep. Very deep. So AJ Styles then wrestled Jeff Hardy. I watched that because it was AJ Styles against Jeff Hardy. That was all right. Decent match. AJ beat Jeff Hardy to join Team Raw at Survivor Series, which I know all the wrestlers on Raw are just so excited to represent their brand, because in November, every wrestler in the WWE all of a sudden gives a shit about what show they're on, even though they were just drafted 2 weeks ago. So brand supremacy, that's what we're always talking about around Survivor Series time, this dumb stuff. So AJ beats Jeff Hardy, and then Elias hit Jeff Hardy with a guitar after the match. And then it was Gran Metalik, Lince Dorado in a tag team against Drew Gulak and Akira Tozawa. R-Truth showed up during the match, and then everyone just... even the guys in the match were less interested in their match than they were, in something else. Like, even the guys in this match didn't care about their match because they all started trying to wrestle R-Truth. They were like, screw this tag team match, whatever. Let's try to beat Truth for the 24/7 title. It didn't happen, and then Metalik and Dorado won. It was dumb. And then Bray Wyatt and Alexa Bliss are in the Firefly Funhouse. Alexa seems to kill Ramblin' Rablet with some sort of poison arsenic tea. And then Alexa talks about hosting Randy Orton on the Moment of Bliss. And then Bray seems to remember the House of Horrors match, maybe the worst match in the history of WWE. And Bray seems to get mad because he remembers when Randy lit his house on fire. God damn, that was stupid. Then Keith Lee beat Elias. I didn't watch that because I'm not watching Elias wrestle. Fuck that. That's where I'm at. How was that match, John? I didn't watch it. Because, I like Keith Lee and all, but I don't like him enough to watch Elias wrestle.
Well, I thought Keith Lee was really impressive. The fact that he could throw Elias around, who's not exactly a small man, the fact that Keith Lee could throw him around like effortlessly was impressive.
Okay. But the match itself,
They were
all
right.
I watch Keith Lee when he wrestles somebody who can actually work. Fuck Elias. I don't want to see him sing. I don't want to see him wrestle. I don't want to see him. Jeff Hardy hit him with a guitar after the match. Little revenge, rowenge. Don't care. Don't care. Hurt Business beat Retribution. Another match I skipped over. I watched some of it, but I didn't watch all of it. Hurt Business beat Retribution when Mustafa Ali got his team disqualified by hitting Cedric with a steel chair. Cedric, the black hole of entertainment. You've heard of Cedric the Entertainer. Here's Cedric the fucking not entertaining at all. And then all of Retribution was chased off during this match at some point. Ali ran away. And then he came back and he hit Cedric with a chair. And the Hurt Business and Retribution are still wrestling. And I don't know who the heel or who the babyface team is. Still, it's not clear. Ali is very much a heel. He's getting disqualified, hitting Cedric with a chair. But the Hurt Business is bullying everybody backstage. It's two heel teams, and I don't care about either one. And Retribution has gone from super powerful force that is running roughshod over WWE to total jabroni force that can barely muster offense against the Hurt Business, who is not the strongest team in WWE. Pretty weak.
Well, they haven't gotten a win, and ever since they got Ali as the leader, it seems like it's gone downhill ever since. So it's kind of weird. To me, it just seems like they don't have any strong wrestlers in the group, or they don't appear strong, because Bobby Lashley can pretty much beat every single one of them.
Yep.
So they're just not getting pushed. That's the problem with it. It's just they're perceived as just completely weak.
They were pushed stronger when they had no identifiable members.
No doubt. 100%.
What is this bullshit we're watching, John? See, this is why, like, I have no time for WWE. I'm not wasting my time with this stuff because I feel like we spend more time thinking about it than they do, and they're making the show. Enough with that. It's ridiculous. Oh,
Raw does get better, though. I give Raw credit. Raw got better.
It did?
It did get better, yeah. Wait for it.
Let's see. Well, it wasn't the next match. Unless it was. I don't know. I didn't watch it. Drew McIntyre versus The Miz. I didn't watch a single bit of this. I saw that Drew won with the Claymore kick. John Morrison interfered in the match, but Drew still won. That must have been terrible. I'm not watching Drew or Miz wrestle anymore. Done. Unless they're wrestling AJ Styles or Daniel Bryan, I refuse to watch Drew or Miz wrestle ever again. Okay?
Well, that match was exactly what you'd expect, so yeah, that was not the match I was referring to.
Sheamus and Riddle? That was good. I like that. I watched that.
That was the match. Yep.
Match of the night, I'd say. Sheamus and Riddle. When I saw that, I was like, ooh, okay. Sheamus is known to be a little stiff-ski on his opponents, a little rough, but Riddle is a real fighter. So I was like, okay, I'm not sure where this will go. Both of these guys have healthy egos. Both of these guys can, go. Both of these guys are pretty tough. And the match was stiff. The match was rough. The match was good. I really enjoyed it. And, I know if I'm going to watch a match as soon as the participants are announced. That's where I'm at with this. If you tell me Sheamus versus Matt Riddle, first time ever on Raw, yeah, okay. I'll watch that 100%. I will watch it all the way through. I won't skip through anything. You tell me Drew McIntyre's wrestling The Miz on Raw. I'm sorry. I only have so much time left on this earth. I am not spending it watching The Miz wrestle Drew McIntyre. But Sheamus and Matt Riddle, by God, that was a good match. Very good. But, I mean, look how much bullshit we had to sit through to get to one good match. AJ Styles and Jeff Hardy, okay, I guess that was good. But if you look at a 3-hour episode of Raw, how much is really good? 15 minutes?
Maybe half an hour. 45 minutes.
45 minutes is very generous, John. 45 minutes with commercials. Okay, but of actual time, I don't know.
Well, I actually like Randy Orton coming out, doing promos backstage, and then being the main event scene. Like, I like that. I know you don't like that, but to me, this is the best.
Really? What did he say that you liked?
I just like the whole setup to it. How, like, he knew he was being set up by Bliss, and then McIntyre comes out, and then The Fiend comes out. And Randy was kind of caught where it's like, I got to choose between fighting The Fiend or McIntyre, and McIntyre's the easier opponent, actually, and all that.
Yeah? And you like this? This entertains you? Like, okay, so Alexa Bliss shows up. She hosts a Firefly Funhouse, or the Moment of Bliss. But she's like not... Have you noticed there's like... Has Alexa Bliss changed into Firefly Funhouse Bliss full time, or does she go back to Fiend Bliss sometimes? Because sometimes she's like catatonic and is like, let him in, and she's all mean. And then sometimes she's like, hey, I'm Alexa Bliss, and this is Firefly Funhouse. And it's really bad, and it's just not well done. And the Firefly Funhouse Bliss seems to be the one that was not only on the Funhouse, but now also hosting Moment of Bliss. I don't know. Again,
right.
I'm thinking too much about this stupid shit. They're not thinking that much about it. They're just like, yeah, just go and be the Firefly Funhouse Bliss, because, like, whatever. It doesn't matter. Who cares? So, Randy's there, and Alexa's talking to him, and Alexa's like, oh, he didn't forget about the horror match, or you and Drew burned the house down last night or something. And she was like, whatever. It was dumb. She talked, making jokes about the Fiend, like, little Fiend references. And then the lights go out eventually, which is what we're waiting for, because like, that's the thing. Like, Randy and Alexa Bliss were talking, and I'm just like, can we get to the point here? when The Fiend comes out. Can we get to the fucking end of this segment already? The lights go out. Or no, Drew showed up before the lights went out, right? Drew showed up at some point and starts fighting with Randy because, hey, Drew and Randy are always brawling because that's all they do. That's what Raw is. Then the lights go out, and when the lights come back on after a long time because, like, they were moving slow, I guess. I don't know. Lights were out for a while. And then Randy's on the ramp and Drew's in the ring. Alexa Bliss seems to have disappeared. The Fiend then appears behind Randy Orton. And then Randy seems aware that the Fiend is behind him, but instead of confronting the Fiend, he decides to go back to the ring. So he's stuck between the Fiend on one side of him and Drew McIntyre on the other. And Randy seems less afraid of Drew, so he decides to go fight Drew. And then he goes and he brawls with Drew, and that brawl lasts a while, and it's really boring. And then eventually, Drew stabbed Randy in the eye with a pen, which apparently was only shown here in Canada, and it didn't make the American version of the show, but Drew stabbed Randy in the eye with a pen. So, of course, Randy will have an eye patch on for the next 6 months, just like Rey Mysterio. No? Is that not going to happen? Randy will just show up with perfect vision next week, like nothing happened?
Well, I think Randy's going to make the complaint that Drew doesn't deserve a rematch now because he did something like that, so I think that's going to be the whole issue. And Randy's going to feel like he's got a target on his back because everyone's gunning for him now. Which, you know, that's the whole story now. Everyone's going after him because he's the champ.
That's how I feel.
You're not going to like Raw for the next couple months.
No. I mean, what's the main event of Raw right now? Drew McIntyre, Randy Orton, Bray Wyatt, and Miz.
I think
Fuck
TLC
that.
should be good.
TLC? When's that? December?
It's in December, yeah.
Why are you talking about TLC?
Well, these guys aren't going to have their big match, right, the next pay-per-view because Randy's wrestling Roman. So their big match is going to be in December.
What big match?
Well, I could see Randy. I could see The Fiend. I could see Drew. Maybe even throw The Miz in there in like a 4-way TLC match.
It's going to suck. Any combination of those guys is terrible. Any combination of those guys is goddamn terrible, and it's not something I'm watching. All right? I'll tell you that much. I'm not watching it. I am not watching Randy or Miz or Drew or Fiend wrestle each other in any kind of combination. No. Miss me with that.
Well, again, you're not going to like watching Raw for the next couple months because I think that's pretty much what we got all the way into next year.
And neither will anybody else. Maybe only you will enjoy it, John. I don't know who else is enjoying it. I'm seeing people on the chat. Nobody wants to see this stuff. Nobody wants to see any of this. People are agreeing with me. They don't want to watch this stuff. What do we say all the time? We watch Raw so you don't have to? Most of the people we hear from don't watch the WWE. Most of the people that watch our show don't watch WWE. They want to keep up to date. They want to know what's going on. So they watch us. But, like, nobody wants to watch the WWE. It's goddamn terrible. Wow, what a bad Raw. What a bad Raw. Another bad episode of Raw. And, you know, the fact that it just revolves around Randy and Drew and Fiend and Miz. And AJ Styles is just like a guy on Raw. I guess he's the leader of Survivor Series team. So they've made teams for Survivor Series. Team Raw is AJ Styles, Keith Lee, and Sheamus. 2 more members to be determined. So far, Team Smackdown has Kevin Owens and Jey Uso on the teams. You want to book the rest of the teams?
It's tough for SmackDown. I mean, there's really not a lot of people to work with. Raw's got quite a few. But I would think you'd have... Yeah, Corbin. Sure, he's on SmackDown,
make this pay-per-view worse. Put Corbin on it. I don't know.
Well, you already have a heel, right? So you need some more faces on SmackDown. Can Rey Mysterio come back? Rey Mysterio would be great for Team SmackDown if he can wrestle now.
Rey Mysterio's got to stop his daughter from fucking Buddy Murphy. Okay, he's busy.
No, what you got to do is put Seth Rollins and Rey Mysterio on the same team, cause conflict. That's what you got to do.
And Murphy, put them all on the same team. How about Seth, Ray,
Well,
and Murphy to fill out the rest of Team SmackDown? They need 3 more members.
They could possibly do it because if you look at SmackDown, there's not a lot to work with.
There's not a lot to work with on either show. Who are the 2 other members of Team Raw? You've got AJ, Keith Lee, Sheamus, and...
Well, Braun Strowman.
Okay.
And the other one, well, I would love to see Morrison because I think John Morrison's really good, and they don't use him as well as they should.
Yeah.
But
he's too good to be Miz's jabroni boy, you know? Like, Miz should be his jabroni boy.
The Miz will probably get the spot over him.
Ugh. What a stupid pay-per-view this is going to be. And then the women's team, you got Nia, Shayna, Mandy, Dana, and Lana. Raw is official. SmackDown has 1 person on the team. Bianca Belair. She won a triple threat match over Billie Kay and Natty on SmackDown tonight to qualify, which the match wasn't so bad. I like Bianca. I like Billie Kay. I like Natty. So I'm not going to complain about that match. I watched it. It was fine. It wasn't amazing, but they didn't botch anything. It didn't look bad, you know. It was solid. It's fine.
No, they didn't botch anything, but Bianca, like, I find her stuff, like, there's no impact to a lot of her moves. Her moves look very flashy, but, like, it's like a feather touching you the way she hits her moves. Like, I don't know if you saw that, like, back handstand moonsault she did, like, barely any impact whatsoever. And all her strikes as well, like, so soft. She's got to lay her stuff in.
Oh, you know, she's been trained by the WWE. It's not really built for stiffness. Who's the rest of Team SmackDown? Because Team Raw is booked.
The rest of the women on SmackDown. There's not a lot of women on SmackDown.
So Billie Kay is still going to be on the team? Natty's still going to be on the team?
I would imagine. I mean, who else do they have? Unless they're going to bring out, like, Tamina and, like, Carmella.
Where's Naomi?
On Raw.
Is she?
Yeah.
Lacey Evans is on Raw too, right?
Yeah, they had a 4 corners match to see who would get the last spot. Lacey was in it. Lacey was great in the match, but she didn't win, unfortunately.
Yeah, they had Lana win over Lacey, Peyton, and Nikki Cross. And then Nia Jax put Lana through a table again after the match. And that was really weird. Adam Pearce and Pat Buck were in the ring, and they introduced the members of Team Raw. It's like, who are these guys, and why are they just introducing 4 people? Nia, Shayna, Mandy, and Dana. And then they're like, yeah, for the 4th spot, you 4 women, you're just going to have to wrestle and qualify for the spot. The rest of the team has just been chosen, but you 4, you wrestle. Lana, Lacey, Peyton, and Nikki Cross.
Well, it's like I told you, Adam Pearce is the unofficial GM of Raw and SmackDown. He can do whatever he wants, apparently. He can make all the matches.
Yeah. Ridiculous. They used to have, like, legends that would make these matches, so at least you would half care about them. But now when these guys come in the ring, I'm like, who are these guys? Who's Pat Buck? Mick Foley and Kurt Angle used to do this job. Now I have to look at Pat Buck and Adam Pearce? Give me Hall of Famers. Don't give me no-name jabronis to do this role. Terrible.
Yeah, but these guys are cheaper. Got to save money.
Unbelievable. And AJ is doing all sorts of stuff on the chat. And AJ
What's AJ doing? He's still
I
up?
don't know. AJ is like posting weird links and stuff in the chat. And AJ, you know, AJ DeLesio from Ringside Report MMA, from the MMA side of the team, you know. AJ, he's always complaining that I had him banned from the chat, you know, because he was banned from the chat. It was more of a rib on AJ, just kind of messing with him. But now AJ's unbanned from the chat, and he's doing things that make me want to reban him from the chat. So stop posting links, AJ. Stop spamming the chat. Stop messing around, AJ, because you will be banned once again. I will ban you. And that's right. The only person I will ever ban from the chat is a member of the Ringside Report team, AJ DeLessio. He's the only guy that actually deserves to get banned. Everybody else in the Ringside Report universe, Wrestling Uncensored universe, you guys are all cool. AJ, though, I don't know. I love him like a brother, but I don't want him on my chat. Okay? That's how I feel.
Well, speaking of MMA,
I want him on the show. I don't want him on the chat. He should come on the show. AJ, if you want to be on the show or on the chat, apparently he's still banned on YouTube. AJ, if you really want to be on the chat, you could just come on the show. Ask me in our group chat. Tell me in our group chat on Facebook, the Facebook chat there that we have with the Freddy. Tell me if you want to be on the show, and I'll just bring you on. You could be a guest on the show, AJ. I think we can do that. Maybe we're not set up for that. We might not be set up for that, but you know what? Next time we can have AJ on the show. Next Friday, AJ can watch SmackDown, then he can come on afterwards. How about that? If AJ really wants to get involved.
We can talk a little MMA here because I watched Jake Hager's fight. I don't know if you watched it.
I did not. I heard it was really good, though, and he won.
Good's an interesting word. I mean,
I heard it was entertaining.
Get, beat up quite a bit. I mean, it was entertaining because he got beat up quite a bit and gave a guy a nut shot, and somehow he won. I guess it was his wrestling in the end because he got a takedown and he had cage control. So that helped him a lot, but man, he got really beat up in that fight. At the end, it didn't look like he thought he won.
Did you think he won? Not just by his face, but as far as the fight itself, I didn't see it, so I don't know. Did the judges make the right call? Because they gave it to him by decision, right?
Split decision. I can believe that because it's that was very close. I think it was the wrestling that got him the edge because that was the only takedown in the whole fight, and the whole fact that he had cage control, I think that gave him the edge because if you look at both their faces, oof, that was rough. Both their faces. He's got to work on his defense because he got smashed way too much.
Sounds to me like the other guy was a better striker than Hager. Hager is yes. Mostly a wrestler. He gets that takedown and he kind of grounds you. He's a grappler, but his stand-up isn't that great, and it's never going to be that good because he's just not focusing on MMA enough, and he's a little bit too old in the game to become a very fluid striker. You'd have to, he's 35, 36, something like that. Might be even a little older, Jake Hager. But I feel like he came to MMA a little too late to be a really proficient striker. Oh, he's 38. Yeah. Very good wrestling, big, strong guy, hell of an athlete. But to be a really sound striker in MMA, it takes more than a couple years to get there, and that's all he's really put into it. Plus, he's in professional wrestling as well. So I don't see Jake Hager as being a world champion MMA fighter, but I'm happy that he fights. He's definitely a tough guy who can beat up a lot of people. So good for him. Good for Jake Hager.
Well, it's great for AEW. He comes out with the Inner Circle T-shirt, AEW shorts. It's a great look for AEW.
Should have come out to Judas.
I wasn't paying attention to what song it was. I mean, go back in the prelims.
Judas in my mind.
I'm sure the Inner Circle has a song, just a generic song. It'd be cool if he came out to that.
Yeah. Okay, how about SmackDown tonight? Roman Reigns and Jey Uso in the ring for the promo. Very long promo. Jey was crying and told Roman that he hated him, and then Roman tells him that he's going to fall in line by the end of the night. And then at the end of the night, it's Jey Uso beating Daniel Bryan with a top rope splash after a super kick to advance to the Survivor Series team. Roman was watching from ringside, and Jey hit a super kick and another top rope splash on Bryan, then told Roman Reigns that he understands now. He's like, I understand now. I'm with you. I love you. I get it now. I'm with you 100%. Something clicked in Jey Uso's mind. I don't really know what it is, but it made him, beat up Daniel Bryan even more. And then Roman told him to finish the job. And Jey Uso puts Daniel Bryan on the announce table, and Jey goes to the top rope and dives off the top rope through the announce table, putting Daniel Bryan through the table, giving a good beating to Daniel Bryan, which I think might set up Daniel Bryan versus Roman Reigns down the line, hopefully. Hopefully it's not just, there for Bryan to be a sacrifice. Interesting move. I'm glad that the Jey Uso versus Roman Reigns thing is over, and now Jey Uso can be with Roman Reigns. Don't really understand the motivation behind it. Didn't really get it. Didn't get why Jey Uso switched there. But I did like the splash off the top rope through the table because it looked like Jey Uso didn't quite land it, and that's my favorite part. That he kind of landed on the edge. Did you notice he landed on the edge of the table?
Oh,
You
yeah.
for sure noticed it, right? You're a wrestler. You see these things, Sean. He landed on the edge of the table. Reminded me of a Shawn Michaels Ric Flair WrestleMania match when Shawn did the dive and landed right on the edge of the table there. You remember that? Kind of the same spot in the table. You want to land in the middle of the table on that big flat board that they take all the monitors off because that just goes down and then you're fine. You don't want to land on the edge because that edge part breaks off from the middle board and you could get kind of impaled on it. And Jey Uso looked like his ribs, his gut, maybe his balls, landed flush down on that table when he did the splash. The table broke, but man, I feel like Jey Uso got the worst of that. Daniel Bryan, not so bad. Jey Uso looked like rough landing for him. Roughski. What did you think, John? You think he broke his balls there?
Oh, I think it definitely hurt him a lot. I could tell, when he went to jump, I think he realized, man, this is way too far. I'm not going to make it. And yeah, he barely made that whatsoever. That would have been. I was expecting that to be worse. Actually, I expected him to just barely hit it and then just go plunk and then fall down. The table wouldn't even break. But I guess those tables are so poorly put together, it's easy to break them. But
yeah,
it looked bad. It looked rough.
Wind.
I wouldn't want to take that.
Strong wind would take one of those tables down. Yeah, it looked rough from Jey Uso, but he undershot the jump, and it is what it is. Did you understand why Jey did what he did? Did you get that? Why at the beginning of the show does he hate Roman, and then he beats Daniel Bryan, and then he's like, oh, okay, I get it now.
Well, this is my way of looking at it, because they were telling this during the match, was that he was, hesitating, Jey, during the match, right? And he was taking these moments where he's like, what do I do, what do I do? And, I think he figured out, be like Roman, how Roman was just ruthless against him and would do whatever it took to beat him. And that's what it took to beat Daniel Bryan. So that's why he joined him, because he realized that's what works.
Goddamn. You really do too much work for them in making sense of their nonsense. It's just, ugh. Okay. If you want to, sure. I'll take it. I don't really like it, but it is what it is. Do you think Daniel Bryan's going to wrestle Roman Reigns now? Is that what they're heading towards? Because, Roman doesn't really have an opponent. Yeah, right? Bryan Roman?
Yeah, I think, we're not going to get it right away, right? Because he's got to wrestle Randy in the champion versus champion match versus Survivor Series, but...
It's going to be so bad. Holy shit, I don't even want to watch Survivor Series. Wow, it looks so bad. Who do you think's going to win, Roman or Randy? I'd say Roman. Big dog, hoorah.
Well, yeah, usually, I kind of look at it like how Bayley didn't win because she just won the title and then she lost right away at Survivor Series, because it's a match where it's well, you're not going to lose the title, but then they gave Bayley a nice long reign, so I'm expecting the same thing with Randy.
A long reign that will be ended by Edge at WrestleMania.
That's pretty decent reign, actually.
Sure. It's going to be a boring ride. What else happened? I like Sami Zayn. I watched his promo. Talked about being the Intercontinental Champion, how he's the champion of all the continents and all the different countries. And Bobby Lashley, you're just the champion of one country. And let's be honest, that country, that was a really good line there from Sami, which I'm surprised he got away with. given it's like a few days before a big election in that country, and Sammy's kind of taking shots at the states, and he definitely has his opinions if you follow him on Twitter, as I do. Big respect for Sammy. I agree with Sammy on pretty much everything he says, not just on TV, but on Twitter as well. I'm a big fan of Sami Zayn, the man and the wrestler. I like that, but Sammy's definitely going to do the J.O.B. to Bobby Lashley at Survivor Series. Sammy versus Bobby. I feel like we've seen this not long ago, right?
They mentioned it, how this is now Bobby's revenge for the whole sisters thing that happened.
Sisters?
Because Sammy came out with Bobby's like sisters. You don't remember that? That happened on Raw.
Yeah. And I don't remember what the conclusion of that was. Didn't Bobby Lashley just whoop Sammy's ass at some point?
I think he went to attack him or something. Yeah, something like that happened. But I think it was a tag match though. It was never an actual 1-on-1. I think it was a tag. It was Lashley and Strowman against, I think, Kevin and Sammy. That was the payoff. So never 1-on-1, I think.
Well, thank God we're finally tying up those loose ends, because that was something that I just could not stand to see unfinished.
Getting done now.
Great. Stupid. Go Sammy. I hope Sammy wins. He definitely won't. Street Profits beat Nakamura and Cesaro. Street Profits are going to wrestle the New Day. It's kind of like when the Legion of Doom wrestled Demolition, you know? It's like, here's the real version, and here's the phony version. Let's see what happens. Who do you think's going to win? Gee, I wonder. Street Profits are a bootleg New Day, is what I'm saying. And I really enjoyed New Day dressing up as the Street Profits for Halloween on Raw, doing a very funny Street Profits impression. Fam. Kofi is Angelo Dawkins or whatever his name is. Very good. Woods, too, is Montez Ford. Like, they were great. They nailed it because they're entertaining. They're smart. They know what they're doing. They are high-quality professional wrestlers. They are future Hall of Famers, and the Street Profits are a bootleg version of that.
Well, with that being said, I still think the Street Profits are probably going to win, though, because it seems like they're the unbeatable team right now.
The Street Profits are on, and I'm going to smoke. That's my new catchphrase for the Street Profits. Street Profits are up. It's time to go smoke. That means I walk away, I go smoke a number, because I don't want to watch the stupid Street Profits wrestle their stupid matches where they're like shaking the ropes and doing their boring wrestling. Like, have they had a good match? What's the best Street Profits match you've ever seen? It'll probably be against the New Day at Survivor Series, because New Day is good at tag team wrestling.
Well, I feel like they've had some good matches with the Viking Raiders, surprisingly.
Okay. Where's Big E? Is he hurt? What happened?
Well, this is the problem of SmackDown. It's only 2 hours, right? You can't get everybody on SmackDown.
He'll be on Team SmackDown. He's got to be on Team SmackDown, right, Big E? For sure.
You would hope.
Yeah.
For him.
Okay, so what do you want to talk about? The Lars Sullivan promo or the Murphy and Aaliyah promo?
We'll get through the Lars thing because it's pretty easy to get through.
All right. So Lars is interviewed backstage by Corey Graves, and Lars doesn't like being called a freak. You're calling me a freak, Corey? Everybody calls me a freak. Have you seen my porno? And Lars is like, oh, kids first start calling me a freak when I was 9 or 10 years old, and I cried, and now I'm gonna get my revenge on all the bullies, and you call me a freak, and it makes me mad, and I'll show you who's the freak, and It felt like a Kane promo that had been regurgitated. I saw you said it felt like a Heidenreich promo, and yeah, like I'd seen that promo done by several wrestlers. I could envision in my mind Vince pitching the promo to Lars, going, all right, pal, so this is what we're going to do. You're the freak, right? But you don't like when they call you the freak. They've been calling you a freak since you were a little kid, and it makes you mad. So now you're here to get revenge, and you lifted weights, and you got vascular, and you worked on your physique, so now you can show them who the real freak is. You're the freak. That's, it's a promo that I've seen done over and over again in WWE by several different shitty wrestlers, and now add Lars Sullivan, who doesn't talk the way he should. Like, his voice doesn't match his body. He's got this, like, weak little voice.
It's funny, though.
He's a cup of coffee in the WWE. Yeah, it's funny when he's, like, this big, stupid-looking douchebag, and he's like, you think it's funny you called me a freak? I'm not a freak. I'm Lars Sullivan.
You remember
I got my dick sucked
Undertaker?
by a dude in a porno, and it didn't come. I'm Lars Sullivan.
The Undertaker in that Hulk Hogan movie, I forget what it's called. I think Suburban Commando. The
Yeah.
Undertaker's voice in that, it's very it's not exactly like that, but it reminds me of that a bit.
Okay. I don't know what it reminds me of. It reminds me of bad TV that I don't want to see. Gene Snitsky.
Didn't you like the line about talking about how, like, they were laughing at me, but then I smiled at them, and then I wasn't allowed to go back to school anymore because of all the screaming, if you know what that means. You love that line? Like, apparently he insinuated that he, like, killed the whole of them, I guess.
Is that what he was insinuating? I didn't take that from that.
That's what I took from that he, either assaulted everybody or, ended their lives, apparently.
Huh. I thought, but he smiled at them. How is that ending their lives? I don't get it. Is there a disconnect that I'm missing?
Something happened, apparently. Like, he smiled at them, and then something happened where he wasn't allowed at school anymore.
Maybe he showed them his porno. I mean, that would definitely get you banned from school.
It's definitely open-ended if you think about it.
I mean, I know that I should probably not talk about it and make fun of it so much, but I'm sorry. Lars Sullivan is the only member of the WWE roster who has a porno out with another man sucking his dick. Like,
well,
I'm going to talk
to
about
be fair,
it.
Xavier Woods
I'm going to make
has,
jokes.
Like, a sex tape too, but...
Xavier Woods was having sex with Paige in the sex tape, which, in my books, is pretty cool. And to me, if you're going to get your dick sucked by a dude on camera, the least you could do is ejaculate. It's just rude not to finish. It's like, hey, dude, you're not doing a good job. It is rude. You finish. When somebody sucks your dick, goddammit, you finish. Out of respect for the act. Lars Sullivan has no respect for porno or professional wrestling. He can't finish in either. Double count out.
Wow, okay.
Hell in a cell.
Good. No, the etiquette. The etiquette, it's important.
Oh, yeah, John, this is something that I'm teaching you, all right? I'm teaching the universe, all right? I mean, you keep it going until you finish, all right? You got to see things through. You can't just quit. Lars Sullivan quit. Pathetic. Also, he sucks at wrestling. Also, he sucks at promos. He looks pretty cool, though. He's pretty impressive, like he's big. And I'm not talking about his penis. I'm talking about his physique. Although, from what I recall, he didn't have a small penis. It was reasonably sized, I think. Matched his body. Didn't seem out of proportion. All right, I've talked about Lars Sullivan's porno a little too much here, John. I know it's your favorite. It's everybody's favorite porno. That and the Sunny sex tape, also good. Sunny, One Night in China. I mean, so many great pornos in the history of pro wrestling. Can't wait for the Aaliyah Buddy Murphy porno coming soon. So Murphy comes to the ring with Aaliyah Mysterio on his arm. Murphy says he's not the same person he was, And he needs to apologize to Rey Mysterio and Dominic.
Bad promo.
Really bad promo. Seth
Kept saying
Rollins
but all the time.
Yeah, whatever. He's not used to talking, okay? They haven't let him talk very much. Seth Rollins comes out in a fantastic outfit. He's wearing a suit with no shirt and no socks for his shoes. I like the suit jacket and the matching pants with no shirt underneath. It's like very greasy. It's a very good pro wrestling look.
That's way too high.
Yeah, what's with the one pant leg that was hiked up?
I have no. I guess there's different styles, man. I'm not sure.
Also, isn't Becky like super pregnant? Doesn't Seth need to leave soon? Can we get rid of Seth already?
December.
You're having a kid,
He's got
Seth.
time.
December. All right, get the fuck out of here, Seth. We've had enough. Seth comes out and he's like, Murphy, Ray and Dominic will never forgive you, and they will never accept whatever you have going on with Aaliyah. Aaliyah, by the way, comes to the ring with Murphy for the promo, and she's like holding onto his arm. Murphy looks slightly uncomfortable with the whole scenario. Aaliyah looks like she's totally fine with it. I think Murphy's like shoot uncomfortable because, you know, he's a 30-something-year-old man and he has to kiss Rey Mysterio's 19-year-old daughter in front of Rey Mysterio on national television. It's a little uncomfortable. I'd feel uncomfortable doing it too. But I would also
to be fair,
think,
she kissed him.
yeah, whatever. I mean, look, respect to Murphy, I guess. But yeah. Aaliyah does seem like the aggressor in the relationship. She's holding on to Murphy. She's kissing him. She seems more into him than he is into her. Maybe that's part of the story. Maybe Murphy is playing her for Seth Rollins' benefit. Because Murphy doesn't seem like he's really that hell-bent on getting the acceptance of Rey Mysterio, because it doesn't take much for Murphy to start beating up Rey Mysterio's son. Right? So Seth Rollins comes out, and then Seth and Murphy fight a little bit, and then Dominic comes out, and he attacks Seth, and then Dominic attacks Murphy. Seth bails. Dominic starts fighting Murphy, and Murphy's like, Dominic throws a punch, and Murphy's like, yep, let's fight. Boom, 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 boom. And they're fighting. And it's like,
Yep.
if you were really trying, like, you've done a lot of bad stuff to Ray, to Dominic. You're trying to gain acceptance into the Mysterio family. Maybe if Dominic attacks you, you would just kind of roll out of the ring and not try to beat him up. Like, Dominic fights you, maybe you just beg off and say, look, Dominic, I don't want to fight you. I'm not the same man. Like, stop fighting me. You know, take the beating and whatever. But no, Murphy is like, fuck you, Dominic, let's fight. And then Ray comes out, and Ray is like, get off my son. And Murphy pushes Ray and wants to fight Ray. And it's like, Murphy, this is not endearing you to the father-in-law, you stupid fuck. You dumb Australian bastard. So now Ray goes to 619 Murphy, but Aaliyah stops him. And then Aaliyah tells Ray that she loves Murphy. Ray and Dominic leave the ring and watch from the entrance ramp as Aaliyah kisses Murphy in the ring. Boom! She kissed him in the ring. Wow.
Camera barely got it, too.
I mean, we got enough. It wasn't a Lana Bobby Lashley kiss with like open mouth, tongue, and everything, but they kissed on TV right in front of Ray. You think Ray still wants his kids in wrestling? He's got to watch Buddy Murphy put his paws all over his 19-year-old little daughter? You think Ray's happy seeing that? Maybe he is. I don't know. But
she's making money, no?
Sure. Yeah, sure. Every father is happy to see his daughter make money by kissing 30-something-year-old men on TV. That's what every father wants for their young daughters. Make money by kissing men. Whoops. Oh, sorry.
So,
that's Lars
like,
Sullivan. That's how Lars makes his money, or used to, anyway.
If we reverse the roles a bit here, it'd be okay if like 19-year-old Zev like is kissing like a 30-year-old in the ring, right? That's fine, but it's not okay for this situation.
What are you talking about? Stop talking about my son kissing older women on TV. He's 3 years old. How dare you?
I'm saying 19-year-old. That's what I'm saying.
If he was a 19-year-old man kissing a 30-something-year-old woman, I would have less problem with it than if he were, yeah. Yeah, well, you know me, John. I'm a sexist, obviously. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. What can I tell you? I'm a misogynist. I'm a devout misogynist. You know me. No, but, I don't know. I think it's, I'm sure it makes him uncomfortable. I would be uncomfortable. I'm sure I'd be uncomfortable if my son was in that role kissing a woman or kissing a man. I'm sure it'd make me uncomfortable to be 10 feet watching it unfold in the ring, in a wrestling ring. It's not a comfortable situation for a parent, be it a boy or a girl. Okay?
Okay, well.
Stop trying to expose me as a devout misogynist, you bastard.
That wasn't the plan, to be
Stop
honest.
trying to expose me. Everybody knows I'm an equal opportunist, both sides of the coin, both sides of the pancake, so on and so forth. But you're trying to make me out to be some sort of misogynistic, grab him right by the pussy, Buddy Murphy type, and I am not that guy, all right? How dare you?
I didn't see Murphy's hands anywhere they weren't supposed to be, so.
I'm just throwing things out there. I'm not actually saying it. I'm just... I didn't see Buddy Murphy grab Aaliyah's vagina. Just so we're clear,
The only thing,
there was no vagina grabbing on WWE television, and the last time I saw somebody grab a vagina on WWE TV, it was Mickie James on Trish Stratus, and I haven't seen any vagina grabbing since. They've edited that out of that WrestleMania broadcast. So, if you're like me and you tune into pro wrestling to see some good old-fashioned vagina grabbing, you're out of luck, baby. Oof, this show's taking a turn. Maybe late night Friday night is not a good idea for me.
Possibly. The I love him line. I just found that was just completely unmotivated. Just like she just blurted it out. There was no real emotion behind that whatsoever. It just felt like a robot talking again.
Yeah. They gonna do a sex tape or what? Get it over with. Do a sex tape. I mean, that's the only way that I'll be interested in this storyline, to be honest.
I'm expecting Seth Rollins to do something, shady, sneaky.
I've seen his
sort of secret video or something. No, we don't need to see that ever again.
I've seen it. I've seen it. That was on the internet
that's
too.
nice. Well, just because it's on the internet doesn't mean you've seen it. You don't have to see it just because it's on the internet.
Yeah, I do. I have to see it. If it's on the internet, my curiosity gets the better of me. I have to see it. If it's a pro wrestling thing, if it's a nude pro wrestler, I gotta watch it. I'm not a homosexual, but I watched a lot of the Lars Sullivan man-on-man porno because I was curious, like, what's going on there? Not curious in that way, but curious in, like, what's happening? What's the finish? Skip to the end. Oh, no finish. No finish. Seth Rollins has got a penis picture out there on the internet? Oh, my God. Yeah, I'll see that. Oh. Ricochet? There's a video of Ricochet fingering his own butthole on the internet? Oh, yeah, I'll watch that. Paige is doing what? Xavier Woods and Brad Matt. What? Yeah, I'll watch that. Charlotte, eh? Okay. Big Show? And Hornswoggle? And what? Oh, yeah, I'll watch that. That last one didn't actually happen, but I would love to see something involving that. Big Show, Hornswoggle, and, like, Jillian... What was her name? Jillian whatever with the thing on her face? Hall. Jillian Hall.
Jillian Hall.
Yeah, that's the porno for me. Hornswoggle, Big Show on Jillian Hall. Let's do fantasy booking WWE pornos.
You need the Big Show from MacGruber.
Brock Lesnar, Sable. Why is it two dudes? What am I doing? I am not booking this right. These triple threats are all wrong.
Well, the main thing was SmackDown. SmackDown was worse than Raw this week. Raw was actually better than SmackDown.
I guess because Raw actually had a good match on it. Kevin Owens and Dolph Ziggler. Did you like that? It's probably the best match on SmackDown, but
that was it. That was the only thing I liked about SmackDown. Was that?
Yeah.
Raw at least had two good matches.
Yeah, but it was longer. Like Raw had
Yeah, but
maybe more quality in it, but because the show's so long, it also had more garbage. You know, both shows were
well,
bad.
I don't consider the Randy Orton stuff garbage. So for me, Raw gets the win.
Yeah, well, you're wrong about that, obviously. So the Survivor Series card is mostly done. Asuka's gonna wrestle Sasha Banks, champion versus champion. Unless Bailey takes the title back on Friday on SmackDown because they're doing a rematch on the next SmackDown next week. So there's that. You know what's
Well,
big
the
though,
whole
John?
thing.
Sorry, go ahead. I'll
Well,
tell
it's
you
just
what's
the whole
big.
thing about what's big. Me?
Oh
Yeah,
no,
of
tell
course.
me. Tell me. Yeah, okay. Well,
Well,
forget whatever you were
the
gonna
big,
say. I don't care anymore. I'm gonna tell you what the big thing is. So Netflix and WWE are doing a documentary about Vince McMahon. Did you see that?
I don't care.
A documentary series on Netflix about Vince. You don't care? It's like the same guy who did the Fire Fest is doing this documentary on Vince. A lot of people are working on it. This is going to be a very well done documentary on Vince. It'll probably be very pro Vince though. And
Exactly.
I don't know how real it's going to be. I don't know what it's going to be like, but it seems like some real people are behind it. So I'm interested. Netflix like this is if it was a WWE Network series, yeah, that's one thing. But Netflix, it's got to be legit enough to get mainstream audiences interested. I don't know what it's gonna be. I don't know if it's one. I think it's a documentary series on Vince, like a few episodes. Which look, man,
Right.
I like Netflix documentary series, and if you're gonna do one on Vince McMahon, I'm definitely gonna watch it. I have low expectations, but I have low expectations for anything pro wrestling pretty much these days. But especially when it's like Hollywood doing pro wrestling, I have very low expectations. But, recently my expectations have been exceeded. I thought Glow, the TV show there, was really good. I like that. I like the movie The Wrestler. I like the 30 for 30 that they did on Ric Flair. I like the Dark Side of the Ring. I like the Andre the Giant documentary they did on HBO. Like, Hollywood has been delivering on professional wrestling stuff for quite a while now. And I think that the Netflix Vince McMahon documentary could be very good. Like, if it's as good as the Ric Flair 30 for 30, it'll be very good, right?
Well, I mean, it'll look impressive. It'll be fantastic looking, and like I'm sure we presented well, but it's just going to be more WWE propaganda. So I mean, you just have to take it for what it's worth.
Yeah. I mean, you're not wrong. But it'll probably be entertaining. All right. Let's stop talking about WWE. Let's talk about AEW. What do you think of Dynamite this week?
I thought it was all right. I thought some matches were good, some matches could have been better.
Mm-hmm.
Average show.
Yeah. I thought the main event was probably match of the week in all of professional wrestling. I don't think I saw a better match this week than Kenny Omega versus Pentagon El Cero Miedo. You said that their all-in match or all-out match was better. Probably was. Doesn't mean that their match on Dynamite this week wasn't the best match that we saw all week on Dynamite, Raw, SmackDown, NXT, whatever.
You could be right. It's hard because you judge that
I am
match, or at
right.
least I was. I was judging the
I'm right.
match based on the pay-per-view, and it's just like I felt like a condensed version of the pay-per-view match, which is still good. The last 5 minutes, very good, but if you think about everything you saw in like a good 25 minutes, which was pretty much condensed into like 10, maybe 13 minutes, yeah, it just feels like you want more.
Package pile driver. Good God Almighty.
Again, the last 5 minutes, very good.
Jeez.
Some of the best sequences in all of wrestling this week, maybe all month. But again, like when you see that great pay-per-view match, and then you see this, it's a bit of a letdown.
Kenny Omega is just so amazing. He's so athletic. He's so impressive. The one-winged angel that he does, just that one move. To have a guy on your shoulders and then to tuck his head and then to drop him down and fall down and land on your butt and have the split and then have him land in between your legs perfectly and not kill him and not hurt yourself and land it perfect every time. It's like, how does he do that? John, I'll tell you. I wrestle with my son, and I pick up things, and I try to do the thing. I can't do a one-winged angel. Like, I can't stand up and then drop to my butt perfectly like that without falling backwards. Like, I can't just do a straight butt drop. Can you? I mean, you're a wrestler, so you're probably trained. There's probably a technique to doing it. I can't figure it out.
There is.
How do you do it?
There's a way to do it. A lot of it is just practice. It's a lot of it's momentum, pretty much, and just learning how to fall properly. That's it. Well, it helps when you actually have the correct area to work in. Like when you actually have a ring where you can fall, and you realize you're not going to kill yourself falling. So that would help a lot. That's number one. Then you want to make sure you have a good area where your opponent can land as well. So
yeah, when I do it, I think. When I'm doing it to like a big stuffed Conor McGregor on my son's bed for my son, and I think the bounce of the bed kind of propels me, like it messes with my balance. I think if I had a ring, although rings are pretty bouncy, you got to show me how to do that one day. Anyways, I don't think I could ever do it as well as Kenny Omega because that guy is a super athlete. He's just super athletic, and I'm just not as athletic as Kenny, and I'm okay with that. Although I wish I were as athletic as Kenny. I think we all wish we were as athletic as Kenny. Even you, Johnny North, great shape, great professional wrestler. I bet you wish you were as athletic as Kenny because some of the things that he does, I don't quite understand how. How does he, take that... Take so many drops that seem like they land flat on his head and, keep bouncing around. How does he move the way he does? He has like an extra spring in his step. He's an incredible performer to watch, and this version of Kenny Omega is the version that I've been waiting for since the inception of AEW. So I'm really happy that finally we're getting this Kenny, and I'm really invested. I love it. I think he's a very special performer, and I'm happy to see him, man. I love this Kenny. Finally, this is the Kenny that I've wanted to see the whole time. This is New Japan Kenny, finally in AEW.
So is this going to be the Kenny that's going to win at Full Gear then?
Should be.
Should be, but do you think he's going to win?
I don't know.
It's tough. Yeah.
I don't know.
Because Hangman also wrestled. He started the show, and again, very good performance.
Yeah. Hangman's so good. Hangman is so good. Hangman beat Wardlow to advance to the finals of the tournament. They had this tournament. Kenny and Hangman were on opposite ends of the bracket. Once they started the tournament, you could tell, okay, well, it's probably going to wind up Hangman versus Kenny at the end of this thing. But normally I'd be mad about that, but because they did the tournament over 2 weeks, it felt like it was quick, so we didn't have to wait. Like, if this were WWE, you would know who the finalists were when they started the tournament, but they would do the tournament over 6 weeks, and you'd be like, can this goddamn end already? But now, with AEW, it's like, boom, boom, 2 weeks, we're done with the tournament. Yes, Kenny and Hangman are going to wrestle. You have 1 week in between, and then it's Full Gear. They don't bullshit,
right.
At least things in AEW, they make sense. The wrestling's good. The matches are worth watching. I know they do less TV and all that, so it's more condensed in a 2-hour block, but it's well done. And I might not like everything that I see in AEW, but for the most part, I enjoy watching Dynamite every Wednesday night. I really do. And I can't say the same about SmackDown or Raw. I enjoy Dynamite.
Well, they're totally different shows when you think about it. I mean, this is more of a wrestling show. This is, at times, a little bit of an old school feel to it, and then mixed in with whatever they do in the independent scene pretty much. But I mean, compared to WWE, where that's mainly entertainment
Mhm.
with like shades of wrestling. So
Yeah,
yeah, this is a totally different kind of feel.
problem with WWE is it is a wrestling show and it's not entertaining. Like their entertainment stuff is not actually entertaining. They should just stick to wrestling. But then when they try to do the wrestling, it's like, here's Miz versus Drew McIntyre for 15 minutes. And I'm like, no, no, no. I'd rather watch Hangman and Wardlow, thank you very much. Or Eddie Kingston and Matt Sydal. You know, that match was okay. I didn't love it, but, you know, I'd rather watch that than Drew McIntyre. Ever. Kind of surprised that Matt Sydal just got jobbed out. What's going on with Matt Sydal? They don't have big plans for him, right? I mean, I know Eddie Kingston's gearing up for a match with John Moxley, an I Quit match for the AEW title at Full Gear, but I was a little surprised that they used Sydal in that role to just kind of lose to Eddie Kingston.
Well, when you think about it, we haven't seen Seidel on Dynamite. I mean, I think he's been mainly used on Dark.
Yeah.
So this was just a
Why?
spot to finally get him. Well, it's hard to get spots because they got to build up the pay per view,
Hmm.
and Seidel doesn't have a pay per view match, so they needed to finally get him on the show somehow. To me, this match didn't make him look that bad. It made him show that he was actually competitive against the number one contender. It's not bad.
I guess. I just don't believe in Eddie Kingston as a legit number one contender. Like, he's just there right now for Moxley, waiting for the winner of Kenny and Hangman. Right? Like, no one believes Eddie Kingston's going to really take the title. And when he doesn't, it's just like, okay, well, winner of Kenny Hangman, that's really the big match for Moxley.
Right, but I mean, you're still looking forward to Moxley and Kingston. Like, I think it's gonna be very violent, that match.
I'm not. I don't care about it.
Oh well, this might turn to another Roman and Jay then. The way that match might go, then who knows?
I don't really like Eddie Kingston. Like, the more I watch him, the more I don't like him. I don't like his promos. People are like, oh, his promos are da da da. Yeah.
Well, he has a different way of doing things, you know, and that's the thing that kind of makes him stand out is that he's not like everyone else.
Okay.
And
No, he's got his own
obviously,
style. I just don't really care
yeah.
for the style. It feels very like his clothing. It just feels very 1998, like I'm in Public Enemy, I'm in ECW type of thing. I'm Taz in 98, you know?
Well, Taz is trying to be that too as well.
Yeah, exactly. I don't really see a difference between Eddie Kingston and Taz promos right now. Kingston is a little bit more intelligible. Like, that's pretty much it. Taz is a little bit, like, garbled and confusing. And you're like, what the hell are you talking about, Taz? Eddie Kingston makes a little bit more sense, but it's pretty much the same gimmick. Angry guy from New York. I love New York, but, you know, I've seen the gimmicks so many times. And Eddie Kingston is just like another version of it. It is what it is. Chris Jericho and MJF. Speaking of another version, there's Chris Jericho and Chris Jericho Jr., MJF. They have an Inner Circle town hall for some reason. Luchasaurus asking MJF what the benefits would be that he would bring to the Inner Circle. Why does Luchasaurus care about MJF joining the Inner Circle? MJF sort of shows
gave him a spot on the show.
Yeah, exactly. It's stupid. MJF shows some sort of graph. Britt Baker and Rebel ask Jericho about MJF's track record of bad friendships. Why do Britt Baker and Rebel care? Jericho says MJF isn't a dipshit like Cody. Peter Avalon.
Well, Rebel was like a huge fan.
Yeah, Rebel, big fan of Chris Jericho. It's like, okay. It's just a little comedy bit, you know. Peter Avalon asked to join the Inner Circle. They all laughed at him. I didn't see the Avalon Brandon Cutler match. What happened on Dark? I don't watch Dark.
Well, Cutler finally got the win, so he finally ended that once and for all.
He won. Cool. Was the match any good, or was what it was?
It had its moments. Like, you know, they did a lot of brawling.
Yeah.
I mean,
All
for
right.
Dark, it was good.
Dungeons and Dragons versus the Librarian. I mean, it's a nerd match on Dark, whatever. Eric Bischoff shows up, and he's like, MJF, what can you do for the Inner Circle? And then MJF is like, what haven't I done for you, Jericho? I've done great TV, the greatest segment in wrestling. The singing is what he's talking about. That's the greatest segment in wrestling, according to MJF. Jericho Jr., as I'm calling him. Jericho says MJF hasn't beaten him. And Jericho says it'll be one-on-one at Full Gear, and if MJF wins, he's allowed to join the Inner Circle. And MJF says he's going to do anything he can to win. And then Ortiz is like telling MJF that Santana's on the fence, but he and Sammy Guevara don't want him in the group. Jake Hager wasn't there because he was preparing for his fight. Okay. A little Eric Bischoff cameo, because why not? And it sets up MJF versus Jericho one-on-one at Full Gear. Don't really understand why. Jericho and MJF seem to be getting along, and then all of a sudden Jericho's like, nah, fuck that. We're going to wrestle at Full Gear. Okay.
Well, there's a reason. There's a reason for that, because if MJF wins, then he's in the Inner Circle.
Right.
So he's got to prove himself here. He's got to beat Jericho.
Yeah, because beating Jericho really cements you as a top star in AEW, right? Or at least it should.
For the most part.
At least it should.
It kind of does.
Oh, yeah. Sure. Because when you beat Jericho in a feud of 3 matches and you win 2 out of 3 and you beat him on the last pay-per-view, you would expect that would mean you're a bona fide star and you're going to have a big spot on the next pay-per-view, right? Right?
I think he does, doesn't
Wrong.
he? Yeah, he does.
He's on the pre-show.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Orange Cassidy
Against favorite wrestler.
Beat Chris Jericho on the last pay-per-view, and now he's wrestling John Silver in a one-on-one match on the buy-in of Full Gear. Like, I love John Silver.
You'd be happy with that.
John Silver's the man. I'm happy that John Silver is wrestling on the buy-in of Full Gear. But he's wrestling Orange Cassidy? Like, John Silver's a tag team wrestler, barely, mostly a jobber. He's become hot over the past several months on being the Elite, not really on Dynamite. And now he's wrestling a singles match on the buy-in of the pay-per-view against the guy who beat Chris Jericho last pay-per-view. Like, I love John Silver, okay? Don't get me wrong. But wrestling John Silver on the pre-show is a huge step down from beating Chris Jericho on the last pay-per-view. That's Orange Cassidy. That's what Jericho sacrificed himself for. That's who Jericho put over. That's who Jericho lost 2 of 3 to. Orange Cassidy, who's on the goddamn pre-show wrestling Johnny Hungy. And Johnny Hungy better beat him because Johnny Hungy is the best. I love that guy. Love him. Johnny Hungy. I even watched him on Shot of Brandy. I've never watched that stupid Brandy cooking show, but because Johnny Hungy was on, I watched it, and I liked it. I love that guy. He's my favorite. I hope he beats goddamn Orange. But, like, you know, Jericho losing to Orange Cassidy on the last AEW pay-per-view is equivalent to him losing to Fandango at WrestleMania. It's like, it didn't make anybody. It's beneath Jericho to even be wrestling this guy, let alone lose to him. But Jericho's a good soldier. He's going to put people over if he's, you know, asked to do so. Even though it's dumb, and these guys will never be anything close to what Chris Jericho means to professional wrestling. Where's Fandango now? Where's Orange Cassidy now? A month later, 2 months later, he's wrestling John Silver on the buy-in. When I saw that, I was like, ha, ha, ha. I fucking told everybody Orange Cassidy wasn't going to be shit. Now he's on the pre-show wrestling Silver. Johnny Hungy. Good for Silver. Good for Silver, bad for Orange.
Well, I think Orange is going to win that match. I wouldn't be too worried about that.
I don't want him to. I mean, he should, but I don't want him to. Because Johnny Hungy, baby.
Well, Orange Cassidy just had like 3 TNT title matches, so he's not like completely out of it. He just had like a bunch of chances. He failed, but they still give him a shot on somewhat of a decent spot on the pre-show.
Way to save it, John. Anything else happened on Dynamite this week? Young Bucks on the FTR doing their backstage split screen promo about their match. Whatever. Taz on a
The only thing
staircase with
the
Ricky Starks
stipulation
and
was
Brian
added.
Cage. Huh? Stipulation?
They added a stipulation to the tag match. If the Bucks don't win, they can no longer go for the tag team titles.
Ever again?
Yeah, so they're probably gonna win.
I mean, they kind of have to, right? Because they've never won the AEW tag team titles, and you figure at some point they will.
Right.
But didn't Cody lose a match at one point where he could never challenge for the AEW title again?
Last year, Full Gear.
Yeah, do you think that's going to stick?
Well, now Cody's pushing the TNT title. Unless they make like 6-man titles, I don't see the Bucks losing this one because they're not going to make new titles.
I think the Bucks beat FTR. It's their company. It's their match. I think the Bucks probably take it, especially with this stipulation, but who knows? Who knows? I saw the future of, I don't know if you saw Being the Elite, but the future of Nick Jackson and Matt Jackson's future phone was Nick Jackson with the TNT title in a singles run. So maybe a little bit of foreshadowing.
Well,
maybe the Bucks are breaking up.
after Chris Statlander and John Silver, I'll never watch Being the Elite ever again. That was such a bad promo.
How dare you mention John Silver's name as a reason to turn you off Being the Elite? He's the only reason to watch Being the Elite. Johnny Hungy.
Well,
Okay?
I watched it off your recommendation. Then I saw that promo, and I'm like, this is garbage. This is terrible.
What did you think of the Cody Rhodes Orange Cassidy lumberjack match for the TNT title? Cody winds up winning. John Silver punt kicked Orange. I like that. And then Arn Anderson punched Orange to allow Cody to take control, hit the crossroads for the pinfall victory. Darby Allin watching from the stands like Sting in the rafters. It'll be Darby versus Cody for the TNT title at Full Gear. All the lumberjacks brawling in the ring after the match. I was like, what's going on here? Why are Billy Gunn and his son standing tall for no reason at all? But there was a reason, because Cody, Billy, and his son will be wrestling John Silver, Colt Cabana, and 10 of the Dark Order in a 6-man tag on Dynamite this Wednesday. So that's why Billy Gunn and his son were standing tall in the ring there for a moment. I was like, what the hell are they doing in a advantageous position on Dynamite? That doesn't make sense. Billy and Sons.
Well, at first I thought Billy was going to make a challenge to Cody for the title, but
yeah, right.
no, they're apparently they're in the Nightmare family now.
Why did John Silver help Cody win? Because he hates Orange?
He hates Orange Cassidy. Yeah.
All right. Okay. I like that they're featuring Silver more on Dynamite. You could tell that they're trying to do something with him because they recognize he's good. Best Friends and Kip and Miro are still feuding. Serena Deeb cut a pre-match promo about winning the NWA title. And did you say yikes?
I did. That promo was not very good.
Yeah, I watched that promo and I was like, oh, I get it. So Serena Deeb, she's got a good look. She's a very good wrestler. That's why she's where she is in pro wrestling. She can't talk for shit. There it is.
Right.
I was like, what's she
Great
missing?
wrestler, though.
She seems like she's really good. She's like the total package. When I see her in the ring, like, my goodness, great wrestling. And then she spoke, and I was like, oh, I get it now. It was better when CM Punk was doing the talking for her when he shaved her head. Remember that? That was her, right?
Well, she looks better like this, but I get what you're talking about for the talking anyways.
Yeah. Somebody should do the talking for her because that was not good. She beat legit Layla Hirsch with a half crab submission. I thought the match was decent. I'd never seen Layla Hirsch before. I liked her.
Well, apparently she's only been wrestling for a couple of years, so for a couple of years this was pretty good. I mean,
yeah, right?
There were still some parts that were rough around the edges, but again, for this one of your first matches probably ever, not bad.
Yeah, I liked Layla Hirsch. I liked her. So, cool. I thought that match was all right. Not bad. Shawn Spears beating VSK via pinfall after a Death Valley driver. Not a match, just one move. I like that Dynamite, they're finally doing these squash matches. It's Some of these jobbers
Yeah,
don't
well, they
deserve a
should.
full match. You know, they've been doing these kind of job matches where the jobbers were getting way too much over, and now they're just doing full-on squash matches where it's like one or two moves and it's over. You saw Kenny Omega do it to Sonny Kiss last week, and now Shawn Spears does it to VSK, whoever that is, this week. And I don't think we'd ever seen it on Dynamite before, like a one-move squash match, but Kenny and Shawn Spears now in back-to-back weeks doing them. It seems like a change of direction for AEW, right? Somebody figured out, like, okay, we need to stop giving these jobbers so much over because no one is becoming a star here.
Well, I think they just realized, like, one time, like, you can't fit all these matches on one show. And then, two, it's just, if you want to build stars, they have to actually seem like they can beat people quite easily when they should. There should be levels to wrestlers. I mean, it's just the way it is. It was the way it works.
Yes, there should be levels to the game. Something that New Japan understands very well, something that AEW understands quite well, something that WWE cannot figure out with their 50-50 booking. They don't get the levels. The levels are always changing and they're never consistent. And that's why when you watch WWE, you're like, why did he just beat him? Why did Jey Uso just beat Daniel Bryan clean in the middle of the ring? Why did Montez Ford pin Shinsuke Nakamura? Why did that happen? Well, because there's no levels in WWE because they're inconsistent and their booking doesn't make sense because they're not thinking long-term. But I think AEW is thinking a lot more long-term than most wrestling companies right now, and I am happy for it. Scorpio Sky showed up and attacked Shawn Spears, had a little thing with him. Thankfully, we don't have to watch that at Full Gear. It's going to be on Dynamite Wednesday night because that's not a match I really want to sit through on pay-per-view. Miro versus Trent, I would sit through on pay-per-view, but they're giving it to us for Dynamite on Wednesday, which should be fun. That's going to be Miro's first real one-on-one match here in AEW against Trent. Like, that's not a jobber. That's a real wrestler. That should be good. They must have met in the past. I don't know if they've ever wrestled, but they for sure know each other from their WWE days, right? Developmental, possibly. Florida Championship
I would
Wrestling.
think so.
Right?
I would think FCW. Trent was there quite a while, so it makes sense.
Where's Trent? He's in FCW. Remember Where's Trent? Even John Cena did the thing. Remember it was like a thing on the Z True Long Island Stories? The Zack Ryder show, Where's Trent? That was big. John Cena said, Where's Trent? Like, it was a thing for a while. And then they released Trent, and it was like, Where's Trent? Oh, he got released.
It's too bad. He's a great wrestler.
Yeah.
It's great that he's getting this spot against Miro. Hopefully this leads to the tag match at either the pre-show or the actual pay-per-view.
Yeah, best friends versus Miro and Trent. I mean, probably, or best friends versus Miro and Kip. Nah, I don't want to see that on pay-per-view. I'd rather see Miro versus Trent, and then we can just forget about their unfortunate tag team partners.
Well, no, you're going to get the tag match. You're not going to just forget about it.
Well, can we just forget about them? Trim the fat is what I'm saying. Trim the fat. Like, Miro versus Trent is all I really want to see of best friends versus Kip and Trent, and Kip and Miro. Like, I don't want to see Kip and, like, Chucky T, I could take him or leave him, you know? Like, I much prefer Trent. Like, Trent is obviously the guy in that team. Chuck is there, but he's not Trent.
I agree with you, but these are both tag teams, right? It's undeniable that this is going to happen.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, I hope you're wrong. I really do. John Moxley and Eddie Kingston are going to do a face-to-face on Dynamite Wednesday. Cody Billy and Billy Gunn's son, whatever his name is, they're going to wrestle the Dark Order guys, John Silver,
Austin.
10, and Colt Cabana. What's his son's name?
Austin Gunn.
Yeah, whatever. Boston Gunn. What a stupid name. Scorpio Sky taking on Shawn Spears. I know what you said, John, but I don't care.
I know you
said Austin, but I'm calling him Boston Gunn. I like that better. Miro versus Trent for Dynamite on Wednesday. Cody versus Darby for the TNT titles, official for Full Gear. Hikaru Shida versus Nyla Rose for the AEW Women's title, official for Full Gear as well. And that's what's going on in AEW world. Ortiz and Sammy Guevara as well will be teaming together to face MJF and Wardlow on Dynamite this coming Wednesday. And next week, next Friday, we'll do our AEW Full Gear preview, and we'll talk about everything else going on in the WWE.
You're missing one thing.
What?
On this Wednesday's edition of Dynamite, Pac will be speaking for the first time in months.
Oh. That's cool. He's still stuck in England, right?
I imagine so, but maybe he'll give us an update when possibly we'll see him again. I hope.
Cool. Well, I hope we see him back in AEW very, very soon because he's a fantastic professional wrestler. I miss him. AEW misses him for sure, right? What a talent. What a talent. Johnny, you're a talented guy. I want to thank everybody. AJ's on the chat. He's a talented guy. Mako8033 is like, I don't know. He's there. I don't know if he's talented.
We're getting really late. You're going to get some crazy people now.
Yeah, there's some wackos going on in the chat, you know. Bob Burgers, I see you, my man. Franco316. It's a busy chat tonight. Lauren Cronish says, I need help because I was watching the Lars Sullivan porno. Hey, it is what it is, brother. I sacrificed myself. Look, I've seen worse things than the Lars Sullivan promo for this show, all right? I watched Randy Orton wrestle. You know how many Randy Orton matches I've seen? At least a Lars Sullivan porno. At least a Lars Sullivan porno was only like 5 or 10 minutes. Randy Orton has like 30-minute match. The Jey Uso Roman Reigns match was far more torturous. 40 minutes of just awful, awful stuff. Terrible. So, look, I sacrificed myself, but, you know, I do it for the love of the game. And that game is pornography. All right, John, I think I've incriminated myself enough. I've admitted to way too much. I've booked classic or dream WWE pornos. What's your dream WWE porno? Book a triple threat WWE porno.
Well, whatever porno that you have, you need to have Manscaped in it, right?
Thank you for saving us. Yeah, Manscaped.
There you go.
Tell us. Tell us about Manscaped. But don't go into such great detail about what you do with Manscaped exactly. Like, I don't want to know all the details, but just tell me about how Manscaped is good for pro wrestlers. Sell it to pro wrestlers.
Well, you just really need the Lawnmower 3.0. It's going to make everything down there a lot easier.
That's it?
That's pretty much it.
God damn, you're bad at commercials. You are not good at this. Every time I pass the commercial off to one of my co-hosts.
I'm way better than AJ.
Barely. You are barely.
AJ didn't know the product. Like,
I mean, you and AJ are quite bad. Like, this is why people don't realize how much work, you know, goes into this show. I really have to carry you guys. People are like big fans of Johnny North, big fans of AJ. Do you guys have any idea what these shows would be like if just Johnny or just AJ were on without me? You guys need me, all right?
People keep asking for that.
Yeah, people keep asking for it. Go do it. Go put it together. People keep asking for it. Go watch Johnny and AJ together. See how that works. You need me. People don't realize how much they need me. I am the straw that stirs the drink, baby. Huh?
I said they missed you Sunday.
Yeah, well, they need me, but hey, it is what it is. I got things to do, and I can't be watching Randy Orton for 3 hours. I'm not watching that guy anymore. And I see Lauren Cronish. She's like me. I stopped watching Randy Orton. I'm with you, Lauren. Why would you watch Randy anymore? He's the worst. He is the worst. Alexa Bliss.
Where are you going with this exactly? I think this is way too late for you now, obviously.
Shawn Michaels, 97 Shawn, Alexa Bliss, and 97 Sunny. Good night, everybody. RingsideReport.net, at Dave Simon MMA on all the things. Genesis Johnny North on Instagram, at North Genesis on Twitter. If you want to see Johnny snitching, follow him on Instagram and Twitter. Snitching all day, every day. We love you big time. Thank you for joining us, and we will be back here every Friday night after Smackdown for Wrestling Uncensored. How about it? Thank you, everybody. We appreciate you, and especially a big shout-out to Patrick C. Hamilton, my man out in Regina, Saskatchewan. Thank you very much, Patrick, for the super chat. We appreciate you supporting the show, and we also appreciate our man Derek John in Montreal in the West Island. Thank you, Derek John, for the super chat as well, and thank you to everybody for watching and supporting. We love you. Manscaped.com. Use that promo code ringside20 to get 20% off your order plus free shipping. Manscaped.com. Promo code ringside20 for 20% off your order plus free shipping. Johnny North didn't do the commercial right, so I had to do it here for you, like this and like that and like this, Senna. Woo!
Huh.
Wait a second.
What's up?
Are we still on?
Are we still on?
We're-
That'd be
yeah,
cool
we're
if we're still on.
on.
That's
What
awesome.
the hell? Get
So
outta
we're going
here.
again.